We'll take a couple of minutes before we start with the next segment. Kindly wait. Our honorable panel members and dignitaries on the dais for a panel discussion on and presentation on export promotion, training and research. I would firstly like to welcome Ms. Karnataka Mambu, foreign expert and international fashion designer, Indonesia. Ma'am, can we have you on stage? I would now like to welcome Mr. Vijay Krishnappa, co-founder, Kosha. I welcome Ms. Zumaira Maira, foreign expert and international fashion designer, Indonesia. Can we have you on stage, ma'am? Alright, yes. Moving on next, I welcome Ms. Hema Maya Raghuraman, ex-director NIFT Bangalore. I also welcome Mr. Prasad Vidappa, fashion stylist and choreographer. I welcome you on stage, ma'am. I would like to request a couple of more minutes before we start the discussion. Sorry? Yes. I invite Mr. Dharamveer Singh, CEO, DLT Research and Foundation. And facilitate our dignitaries on the dais. I firstly welcome Ms. Karnataka Mambu, foreign expert and international fashion designer, Indonesia. Can we have a huge round of applause, please? I welcome Mr. Vijay Kosha. I welcome Ms. Zumaira Maira, foreign expert and international fashion designer, Indonesia. Let's have the applauses going on. I welcome Ms. Hema Maya Raghuraman, ex-director, NIFT Bangalore. I welcome Mr. Prasad Bidappa, fashion stylist and choreographer. I now request all the panel members to kindly start with the panel discussion.
Respected members, first of all, I am honored for hosting such a great panel on research and textile industry and export promotion. Right. We will start from introduction part and then we will move ahead. My name is Dharamveer Singh. I am the founder of DLT Research Foundation, and I have implemented major technology implementations in the blockchain sector and AI sector in India with government as well as private industries. So let's start with introduction part.
I am Hema Maya. I'll begin by giving a little bit of my background. I am from Miranda House, Delhi, and I did an MBA from there. And then I was with the DCM group of companies, private setup with computer background. I was in DCM Data Products, and I continued as area sales manager there. And then I shifted to Chennai, and I worked with a garment export house in Chennai, and I got a lot of experience there, right from the shop floor. I worked as a supervisor. My bosses made sure that I went through all the departments of the garment industry. So I was part of the production floor. At nights, I would be sitting and packing the garments and getting it ready for inspection. In those days, we had a lot of inspections happening. I was also looking after the trims, and finally I was a sample in charge, that is dealing with the buyer directly and talking to them about what was the requirement. So I was I was part of the team which was interfacing with the buyers. We had international buyers from USA and Europe. And after that, I shifted to NIFT as the director NIFT Bangalore. And here I had the opportunity to be observer and participating in so much of creativity, so much of developments happening all over. And I'm happy that I was part of that industry, exposed to that. I have written few notes during my NIFT days. I feel that I was just a small drop of in that ocean of creativity. There were products, new products were being created by students, there were garments, fashion, so much happening. One very important part which was being done was craft documentation by our fashion design students who spent 21 days in any particular village chosen by the government. We had tied up with government of Karnataka, and the fashion design students, they used to go and study the techniques, the raw materials which are used, what are the treatments being done for different kinds of crafts, for instance, Chennapatna, toys, and so on. And then they will come back and give us a presentation, and they also used to use digital media, and it was being presented through the government. Further, we also were NIFT was part of a cluster development initiative which was done by the Ministry of Rural Development. There again, our students, for a longer period of time, they went to the craft area and they used to mingle with the craftsperson and spend not just 21 days, but for a number of years, hand-holding was being done with the craftsmen, and then they would be then moving out and giving them some kind of market linkages, and also giving them some new product ideas and so on. And further, we were also, these are the things which are related now to this particular global conference, where we are now talking about technology and research and skill development. I am very grateful to this organizers. At the outset, I would like to thank Yash Arya, Dr. Sanjeev, and Dr. Ajit Kumar Nigam for putting up such a grand conference. I've just known them shortly recently, and I'm seeing that they have been able to bring up a huge lineup of speakers who are talking on different areas of technical, be it technical textiles, like yesterday we spoke about, we had a speaker from Decathlon who came and spoke, sports industry, meta-surf, IoT, these are all words which we are beginning to know, and we realize that these are important for the development of the industry, which is presently textile and fashion industry. They are not exclusive, but in the IT is a very much important part of this industry also. How I am now connected is, I am now working as an advisor to a social e-commerce website, and I am now identifying various sellers who need to be having international exposure, who need also to sell their products. Not just yesterday, the Chief General Manager of SIDBI had come and presented his presentation, where he said restricted the suppliers of Sambalpur are selling only to the local customers. They are not able to reach out. So this way, in this aspect, social e-commerce websites are very helpful for them to get exposure to other customers also. So, but the only problem here I find that many of these sellers have technology, are struggling with various kind of problems. For instance, how to get GST. There is a very major concern that many of the artisans, craftsmen who are busy doing their day-to-day work, they are not able to get in line with what's requirement for, say, GST, which requires filing of monthly returns, getting in touch with their chartered accountants. Basic small challenges which may seem very small for us, but how to seamlessly make them get in touch with these kind of technological issues is something which I think this conference can bring up. I think once we do the introductions, probably I can talk about it. Thank you.
Hello. Okay, thank you. Again, maybe I have given speech yesterday, but today is as a speaker. Who am I? I'm Ravi Diono. I'm the chairperson of Indonesian Natural Dye and Fiber Organization, which basically the mission is for conservation and development of natural dyes and fiber for traditional clothes. And that's the first goals. And secondly is we also involved in the environment conservation, and the third is our mission in capacity building, empowering for the women. Yeah. And as myself, as a passion, Wadlani consists of many parts, like academician, designer, researcher, and like me, a supervisor and also designer as a passion. And all the people member in Wadlani got entity. Like myself, I have my own brand, which is named Rumah Rakuji. So I, as a chairperson, many program of the Wadlani as a community in organization for natural and fiber, which is our client is many ministry in Indonesia. They do the same program. So depend on who the client, and Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Small, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise, Ministry of National State Company, Ministry of Culture. We have many clients. That's they're all things that who is doing because Indonesia is archipelago, and then most of the patriots of the river live in the hinterland, it's remote area. So only Warlami doing that. So that's why it's not an easy job, because each part of Indonesia, they have community. Actually, they have their own tradition, which is now is nearly extinct. Also, the same for their traditional clothes. That's what I'm doing now with the organization of Walami. That's why our client is many clients. It's a state institution. It's something not easy to do. The Walami is just doing natural dyes and fiber conservation and development, and we try to, digging and then give motivation, and actually I try to find a solution for the financing. But after that, member of the Warlami, like my Rakuji, doing continue the role of Warlami, because what Warlami has to do is in many parts of Indonesia. But each part which has been done by Warlami has to be continued, because as you see, the program training is cannot hit and run. For the community live in the hinterland area, they need continue of supervising, commissioning, until they're really strong and confident to go for a national market and then international market. For that purpose, I joined with the member as in the World Craft Council Asia Pacific region. So that's why I know some Indian who also in charge in this World Craft Council Asia Pacific region. So that's one of our effort, to promote and then to promote, to introduce, and again to give highlight the community appeal in that exposure. Not only the product, but we try also to encourage the to expose the community. That's the most important. So that's what I'm doing, and then I'm true thanks for the organizer who invited me, and also thanks to Karmanita who introduced me to the organizer. So, one of our myself very happy to come here, especially here. What's the name of the ministry just said about the ministry today.
Secretary.
Principal Secretary.
Mr.
Yeah, because as you know, Indonesia is a lack of resources for textile, and then I bring some textile from Indonesia, which is most of quality textile with the yarn imported from here. But and I want to explore more. First is the same brand or different kind of brand. If I can have more, quality control, because sometimes with the same brand I can have different quality of yarn. That also make me wondering who is in charge in this, and then maybe I can get, because I deal with the mainly people, poor people. Once we buy for them, for the program, we cannot stop. That's the problem. And then we surprised why different quality. And secondly, of course, for technology and developing of this textile, no wonder we like to learn from here. Then that's why this is what my eagerness. Maybe tomorrow, Dr. Yas, Mr. Yas, and me and Kanaminta will visit somewhere. That's maybe my primary introduce of myself. Thank you so much.
This is just as introducing. Okay, I'm Karnataka, and actually I didn't go to school for fashion or art, none of that. I'm autodidact totally. But after how long now I've been like here in this business, about almost 40 years, yes. But I graduated for marketing and finance from USF, San Francisco. And when I came back in the 80s, the garment was booming in my country. Anne Klein, Calvin Klein, whatever brand is doing manufacture their clothing in Indonesia. So I decided into doing into a garment business. In the later years, I become a more specific in the designing. I cannot call myself as a fashion designer before I accomplish something, right? So 1987, when I got awarded #1 competition as a designer doing my own textile by batik, because my grandmother has the batik factory. So it was my opportunity to continue with my own brand, and so on and so on and so on. I will not go long because later on I will present what I have done, and through these years I worked with the Calcuttans hand weavers using the Bengali saris for me to put batik on it, and we will show you what I'm doing. But most of all, I thank the team of the Global Spin event, Josh and the friends and all of them. This is not my first time coming India. This is my, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times, but my first time in Bangalore. And thanks to all of you, thanks who invite me and Myra, that we have a longer term of relationship, and maybe in the year of G20 with India and Indonesia can collaborate something together.
Thank you very much. I am Vijaya Krishnappa, and I am a textile engineer. And I'm a co-founder of a startup called Kosha.ai. What the area I primarily work on handmade, handloom, and other craft sector. The problem we are trying to address is today, if you on one hand there is a lot of commitment either by government, civilians, citizens, most of the stakeholders to promote handmade products both in the domestic as well as export market. And on the other hand, from the market side, because as you know that fashion sector is the second largest polluting, and global, today in terms of carbon, greenhouse gases is the biggest topic which is being discussed across the globe. So the primary objective is that India has a model which is competing against the global model of mass manufacturing, polluting water, polluting energy intensity. So India has a model called handmade. So we have a huge sector which is a strength of the country which can be leveraged. However, it's not so easy because even some of the tech companies I have spoken, the large B2B firms, when you say they need 20,000 meters of khadi, okay, so of good quality. So today even khadi and good quality is a big challenge. So we are working, and another side, there is another challenge where you go and search for some handmade product in Amazon, and something comes up called handloom Bagalpuri silk sari, and it will be 599 rupees. Okay, it is neither Bagalpuri nor handmade nor silk, right? I mean, at best it can be a sari. So with this problem, we were thinking, how do we address this? Unless you address the trust issue, especially with online, everything becoming online now, trust is becoming a big issue. So can a consumer trust saying that, hey, I can order this, it claims to be khadi or it claims to be handmade, But can I really believe this? How do I believe this, right? Unless you solve this trust issue, doing anything else will not have the kind of commensurate outcome compared to the kind of efforts that we put in. So we as a kosha, we've been working, though I'm not a technologist, we thought that, we found that with our almost 2.5 years of R&D, that technology is a solution to build trust. So with which we have developed some of the products based on IoT, AI and blockchain, which can help individual artisans to kind of, communicate and market their credentials effectively to the end consumer. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Prasad Bidappa, and I have been working in the field of fashion for over 40 years. I studied at the National Institute of Design in Ahmedabad, and then I had the good fortune to work with the great textile experts of India like Pupul Jaikar and Kamla Devi Chattopadhyay, and most recently Martan Singh, whom I consider to be my mentor. And these are the people who awakened in us a love for the handmade, a love for handloom, a love for khadi, and the love for the craft sector and artisanal textiles of India. And I genuinely believe that today we are in danger of becoming an invisible industry, that always what is handmade has so much of, like Vijaya said, competition from the man-made sector, from machine-made textiles. Yeah. And I've seen big labels in India copying things digitally and reproducing the handcrafts, which is very unfair, and I think that we should take action against them for doing that, because you cannot digitalize a handmade project and then say that it is handmade, which is what Amazon is doing, and we have approached Amazon on the issue, and they have promised that they will do something about it, but they say that whatever the vendor writes and sends us, we publish. So they are saying that it is handmade, so we believe it is handmade. So the trust issue really has to be addressed, and I think it has to be addressed with criminal jurisprudence. It cannot be taken lightly. You cannot take the work of 3,000 years, like an Ajrak shirt that he is wearing, digitally promote it and say it's the same thing. It's not, and it never will be the same thing. And it's also not using the kind of vegetable dyes that they should use for something like this. Ajrak was found in Mohenjo-daro 3,000 years ago. You know, it is something that is part of our philosophical background. And India should be very proud of our handmade process and help celebrate it and make it into something that comes into the luxury sector. I hear every one of you all saying the same thing. Handmade is equal to luxury. You cannot take a bag that was made in a factory and pay lakhs of rupees for it and say that is luxury. What is luxury about that? This is luxury. A bujodi shawl that is made by a weaver in a village in Gujarat using beautiful vegetable dyes and indigo and madder and making wonderful things out of it. I know that Hemaji has done stellar work at NIFT in the process of documentation, but the documentation cannot be locked up and not be made accessible to everyone. We have to make it accessible to every student who wants to come after that. While KVIC has played such an important role in everything, you also have to understand that registering khadi as a trademark does not help the thousands of khadi workers all over India who cannot today use the word khadi because KVIC says it belongs to them. Fair enough, then KVIC should become a governing body and an authorization body to say, yes, what you're making in Tamil Nadu, in Andhra Pradesh, in Rajasthan, in Gujarat is khadi, so we will give you our mark because you're making good khadi. So it should become an authorization body. And then I think we really need to look at the level of investment. You know, Dharamveer Singh ji, you sort of very rightly put it and said that without technology, it will not survive. But then how do we use technology to benefit an artisanal sector? It's very, very difficult because like you said, many people don't know the process. They don't know how to pay GST. You know, Hemaji, you mentioned all these problems. What I think is that today India is full of unicorns. We also have a Prime Minister's skilling program online, which is a very good program, but makes no mention of hand skills. We have a problem with that. Hand skills have to become the basis of what Indian craft and artisanal textile is about, and that should be pushed into the luxury sector. Why is a Banaras sari or a Kanchivaram or a Mulkal Moru from Karnataka not considered luxury? Have you seen the way a weaver weaves? Even a computer was inspired by the weaver's waft and weft. The way the wiring of a computer comes from a loom, from a handloom. Why do we not then say that handloom is the king or the queen of fashion? You know, it has to be. And that is where technology can come in and help us, because blockchain technology can connect artisans all over the country under the umbrella of a KVIC, bring them all together and says, yes, yours is the authorized khadi, you are the authorized Banaras weaver, so if you're doing good work, we will put our stamp of approval on you. And that is something that we have to do, and I know that, Himaji, you can take it to the next level. You know, you have the connections, you can tell government and say, come on, let's stop putting 40% discount on khadi. Why should it go at 40% discount? Even I am guilty of it. We wait for khadi to come on sale so that we can buy it at cheaper prices. But how much does it devalue the artisan who has put his sweat and blood into making that sari or those meterage of fabric? How do we devalue it and say 70% discount, 40% discount, and yet we walk into Louis Vuitton and we pay whatever price they ask. We do not dare argue. Hermes, whatever. You know, you just don't argue with people like that. How can we go to a craft bazaar and say, kitne pe denge, how much will you give it to me for? So we have, when we do anything to promote with the government of Rajasthan, we created the Rajasthan Heritage Week, which was an effort to bring the top designers of India like Abraham and Thakur, Rohit Bal, Tarun Teliani, Rajesh Pratap Singh, you remember. We brought them all to meet the weavers and the artisans to help them modernize the product. While the artisans learned from the designers learned even more from the artisans. It was fantastic, the kind of dialogue that went on, and a new product was created. Today, Rajasthan is at the top of the heap. They've got an over 400% increase of everything from Leheria and Bandhani to the Kota Doria to the block printing. Everything is happening beautifully. And that is why, Darunji, when you say use technology, I say teach the weaver's son the technology. Make them come back into the family and turn the artisan into a global brand. Yeah. Why not? Why could not a person like, Ramkishore Derewala, who is a Padma Shri block printer based in Jaipur, why is he not a worldwide figure? You know, why cannot we invest money in him? And that is what I am coming to. The unicorns of India must learn that they are sitting on a gold mine. They need to invest in the handmade sector to bring it to the next level, bring it to the luxury level, and take it and make a global product with it. Indian textiles and Indian techniques are incredible. What we do from the northeast of this country to the southernmost parts of the country, from the west to the east, we are a treasure house of textiles, craft, and knowledge. Look at our craft sectors: metal, wood, bone, ivory, glass, textile, paper. We make crafts with everything. And why can't IKEA come and buy all these things from us instead of bringing things that are made in Scandinavia and sell it to us, or in Hong Kong, or in whichever other place? Because we devalue it. We have to say, this is important, this is what we want. And we have to make sure that we put our money where our mouth is, invest in the craft and handloom sector, and bring it to the level of global awareness. I have taken khadi to the London Textile Fair. I've taken it to Japan to show to Issey Miyake, and they've all admired it. But like you said, there is a difficulty in the supply chain, and that is where technology has to come to solve the problem. Today, Mr. Prasanna of Hegodu called me, saying that we want to do a buyer-seller meet. I said, but how much do you have to sell? Because people will come and say, we want 1,000 meters. And then you say, no, I only have 300 meters.
So how will the technology help?
Because it can, like I said, it can make people all over the country do the same thing. It can bring the product up to a standard and say, okay, this is a 120 count khadi, this is a 220 count, this is natural, undyed or unbleached khadi, and we can supply you of meters at a time. Even a designer like Abraham and Thakur wants at least 300 meters to create one line of clothes. A designer like this will need 500 meters, 1,000 meters. We should be able to make it available. And the only way you can do it is by authorizing every weaver in the country to weave khadi, put a standard on it, standards of perfection, and so it has to reach the standard, and then it can become part of an amalgamated kind of sale, that can go to any corner of the world. Japan is happy to buy khadi, kota doria, silk in the thousands of meters. They love it, what we do. Issey Miyake has a label called Heart. Can you imagine a Japanese designer has a label called Heart made only with textiles from India, which are curated by the great Asha Sarabhai, who is one of the finest textile curators in the world. She buys the best of khadi and ships it to Japan. They make it into beautiful clothes that sell at the top dollar, they sell at such good prices. The Japanese really know how to appreciate the beauty of handmade. They really do. And we have to learn from that, and we have to turn our artisans and weavers into the true champions of this country. We cannot forget our heritage, because if we forget our heritage, we have no foundation. And what we have in India is amazing and incredible. All across Southeast Asia, where our lovely neighbors come from, we all need to get together and market this in a way that nobody can ever say again, this is not good. We have to say, this is high fashion and this is luxury. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Like Japan That's very helpful.
Thank you so much for impactful introduction part.
All our years of work together.
Let's start panel discussion. I would like to ask from Hema Maya ma'am. Make in India is the biggest brand of India has ever created, intended to boost the domestic manufacturing sector, though a fallout of inviting large-scale FDI is that local farmers and small entrepreneurs may not be able to face the competition from international players. Will enhancing expertise of our farmers through skill development and training programs increase the probability of their survival against this issue?
Sure. Farmers, I'll have to narrow down to craftspersons and artisans. I'm not very familiar with farmers and that sector. Definitely what the Prime Minister or the country now is saying about yesterday, Glory Swarupa ma'am talked about 5 trillion is a target given by our Prime Minister. Atmanirbhar Bharat is the challenge. And she also mentioned that we should no more be job seekers, but we should be job providers. In the last 15 years, there has been such a change. When we were young, we used to be aspiring to be either an IITian or medical. These were probably the only segments in which a child was being guided. But today we have, in this room itself, so many of us who are all entrepreneurs and who are having the energy and the willpower to make it big. So there is no way we can say that there is going to be the onslaught of other countries and we are all not having the courage to face it. But yes, we have challenges within us. All of us are having, as I mentioned, an artisan is busy doing his work. He needs to be enabled by technology to do his work in a more smooth manner, and as Prasadji said, they need to be exposed into the international market. Their skills, their kind of work, unique work that they do need to be projected to the world outside. So enabling them is, for instance, I mentioned about the GST thing, small things like some artisans do not know how to use GPay, which is something which is everybody now in the last 2-3 years, especially post-COVID, we all are doing more transactions on mobiles or attending a Zoom meeting These are all small things which probably we as educated people are more comfortable and we are able to do, but the people who are on the grassroots level are still not familiar with it. The government has provided a lot of opportunities by providing exhibitions, by providing opportunities for craftsmen to come over, and they're even provided ID cards by the ministries. They're provided subsidies in food, room, for craftsmen to travel from place to place and exhibit their products and sell their product. We should have these kind of marketplaces online also, so that they need not be moving around. Their goods are available online and they are able to market their products. But for that, the craftsmen need to be, there are many people who say we don't know how to make reels. They are getting stuck. They don't know how to do cataloging, making brochures online and posting it. These are all small glitches which stop them from reaching out. So probably the technology people here need to help us, help the craftsmen to do that, so that their work is, they are facilitated in what they are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to ask Vijaya Krishnappa, co-founder of COSA. You have mentioned that you have the textile engineering background, right? So I have to ask, textile engineering has received the relatively less attention from the newer generation. What do you think is the reason behind its such deviation?
Okay. So there are two answers. Let me first answer it directly. See, if you see this world, it's evolving very fast. Okay, so take it not just textile, software, everything is evolving. So today, since we are into technology, we hire resources from reasonably good colleges and they're not industry ready. Okay, they study 4 years. Literally, we'll have to teach them. They're very intelligent, sharp, smart, and a lot of them are self-starters. On their own, they learn something which is more relevant and contemporary. Otherwise, 80% of the people, if you see, they are not industry ready. Okay, it's no different for textiles. So if you see most of the textile colleges, if you see, they have this shuttle looms. Whereas today world has moved to rapiers, airjet, water jets from a technology perspective. Okay, so so it has evolved as industry, whatever industry demands, whether it's relevant or not. So it has become more capital intensive, so less manpower intensive, so maybe less engineers are required. But on the other hand, the areas which need to be focused have not been done. So because most of these textiles, for example, they are taught in isolation, right? There is no market kind of side of it. There is no design side of it. There is no export or production side of it. So I think it's kind of, that has been the curriculum probably was designed 20-30 years back for that point of time, and it kind of expired within 3-4 years. Okay, the same thing has happened. But on the other hand, as a direction, like Prasad sir was mentioning, that the way we look at big luxury brands, like be it Hermes or all of that brands. So we, as in India, we have potential to build hundreds of brands. There is craft brands. So like Ikat is a craft, right? Do we as India, or in most of the countries, do we have a brand around Ikat? Do we have a brand around block printing or Ajrat printing? So we know that tea, for example, if you take tea, there is Darjeeling tea. Okay, and it's well managed as a brand. If you see, Darjeeling today, someone tries to sell Darjeeling tea somewhere in US, there is going to be a legal action which is taken against them. Okay, and same with the luxury brands. I think Louis Vuitton spends $1 billion just on protecting their own brand, anti-counterfeiting. They have hundreds of lawyers dealing with their protecting their brand. But Take case of Pashmina. Pashmina is a very luxury product. Okay, you Google in Amazon.com, you will get for $4 Pashmina shawl. Right? So it's not Pashmina, obviously it is made of acrylic. Okay, so the question is that who's going to protect Pashmina? Somebody has to protect. Only then the Pashmina as a brand grows. Okay, I was there too, we are doing some work in Ladakh. I mean, it's extremely tough to really work in that area. Getting sheep, I mean, so we were working on the traceability, how do you protect that, in fact on the traceability of the Pashmina fiber. So it's extremely, and nobody wants to really go and stay there for good time and do good things because of the extreme climate. But someone has to produce, because a normal wool is what, 400-500 rupees, but a Pashmina wool would cost 15,000 rupees. Okay, so, but it also needs to be protected. And it's also part of the imitation whole thing. So I feel though, as in India, building brands, okay, and protecting brands, like Prasad sir was mentioning, when you say khadi, right, today can KVAC guarantee khadi? That's a challenge that KVAC look at, saying that, I know it's a big turnover, I know more than 1 lakh turnover, it does, it's good, but on the other hand, ensuring that that is protected, right? And when you try to say that there is level playing field, the whole sector grows. Today the software, take the case of software, there are so many startups, so many entrepreneurs, so many unicorns which have come up because there is a level playing field. But in handcrafts today there is no level playing field. Okay, if I have to take a shortcut and build a big business, I still can build it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Now I will ask to Miss Myra how to collaborate with Indonesian market and India market to learn from each other. So how will you suggest from? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I try to understand. Would you please to expose my PPT so I can? Myra. It's about handwoven textile in Indonesia. Yeah, it's maybe also information for all of you what kind of textile woven in Indonesia, so I can share what collaboration can do between Indonesia and India. Can you? I have, okay.
I think I can expose it here. Yang Myra. Okay. Yeah. This is about, I'd like to introduce about... Mira, microphone. About...
handwoven textile in archipelago Indonesia. Okay. Well, this is, I have told you about my brand Rumah Rakuji, which is collaboration a lot with Warlami, Indonesian Natural Dyes and Organization. So, as an introduction, Indonesia, multicultural nature of Indonesia has produced a rich civilization, and among its many cultural achievements and the diverse textile traditions stand out. Function for daily wear, sacred ceremonies, trade, etc. And about the textile technique, which is important for Indonesian woven, the two categories. One is the ikat motif, which is like I wear, warp ikat and weft ikat. We have also double ikat. Like in the word, the double ikat, it's actually that's world heritage which we should preserve. Indonesia has one Japan and India has ikat too, double ikat. And double ikat is only 3 countries got this technique. That is why the World Craft Council preserved that as an important world heritage to be conserved. Beside that, for the motif woven in Indonesia, categorized as the non-ikat, we call it songket, sungkit, pile, sidang, naisa, pahikung, buna, and sotis. This is some kind of technique non-ikat. It can be supplementary weft yarn, supplementary warp yarn, or discontinued supplementary weft yarn. It's something like embroidery. So looking into the map, that's a map of Indonesia archipelago, which has its region of Indonesia has different movement. So this is the map. We see like warp ikat, where Indonesia has warp ikat in the North Sumatra, East Kalimantan, West Kalimantan, and some kind in Nusa Tenggara, West Central Nusa Tenggara entity, and then like what I wear is from entity, and Bali they have double ikat and wet ikat, so different kind of motif. Category, and for the non-ikat we have also spreading in Indonesia with different, and each place has different, like what I said, supplementary weft yarn and supplementary discontinued supplementary weft yarn is different. Like this is discontinued supplementary weft yarn. So we also have problem for me, my organization, beside the quality of the yarn itself, which is we use, of course, because we name it as a natural dyes and natural fiber, we want that to be preserved. We want the textile to be continued. That's a little bit about the ikat, which part of the
limitation of time.
Okay. Yeah, this kind of maybe something like, if you like, you can have this presentation which come from, and then it's quite complicated. That this is also one of the problem that we use. Most of Indonesian community in the hinterland area using hand spun cotton before that, but now, because the cotton not grow up very well, and then because easily coming commercial cotton, so the quality of yarn decreases. And then now is for myself, for years I wear for the high quality of Indonesian woven, even for traditional or for the high end, I use imported yarn from India. That's the reality. But we don't want to take much why it's happened. That's not part of my. So I came here. I just want to get to know more about how we can collaborate to get a win-to-win solution to face my problem, to continue for our artisan weaver having. Because they have very high skill, heritage skill, we like also to have good quality clothes. Of course, for most of Indonesian tradition, they love to have rough things because it's warm and it's easily to make. Yeah, they have to learn using more softeners, even yarn, which is now I try to introduce that to get for the global requirement. And that's what I'm doing. And okay. Yeah, this is still ikat. We can see different how people still keep this kind of skill. It's a high value compared to unmotif, It's, but it can also for fashion. Okay. This is some kind of. This is double ikat. What I say. This is the non-ikat, various type of non-ikat. Still now is our mission is to conserve this with natural dye and natural fiber. Now is in here what I learned in this conference I'm very, how to say, eager to do collaboration, as you said, especially facing G20. Maybe there is internship or introducing for me, because I deal with the many group in weaving community in Archipelago, so I can start that with the program for them. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you, ma'am.
So if you like the kind of this, you can have from organizer. Okay.
Due to time limitation, let's conclude here. Thank you so much for participation. Thank you.
Thanking all our panel members for a beautiful panel discussion.